So what I do is I record the meeting. I use the AI component for Zoom to summarize the meeting. So that way I can just have notes from the meeting. What I typically do too is I post the meeting on my YouTube page so that you can always go back and look at it. Nobody really knows where it is, so it doesn't really matter. But that way also, if you miss a meeting and we can't find a makeup day, then you could just go back and look at it. Okay. So the purpose of this again is to I'm grateful for you guys wanting to step forward, and thank you, Megan, for helping push them forward, pushing the rest of the group forward. I think that's what's great about this is that this is now pretty much everybody that's going to play varsity is going to have completed it, and this is not what this is kind of not a makeshift, but a more of a bare bones version of what I would do with the regular clients. So I'm not going to dig in personally with you guys in terms of I'm not asking you to share anything personal when we do this. Unless we are meeting on our own. I will ask you some Q questions, and if you want to share, by all means share. The discussions go better, and they went better with the last group if people were willing to share some information. It doesn't need to be personal, but if you're willing to share some thoughts and feelings and experiences, then it gives us more to talk about, and it helps us tie things to like some real world scenarios. And we're going to just take the focus of basketball or maybe your athletic experience, and typically sometimes we can tie it to education and your schoolwork and all that kind of stuff. But that's really the intent, and I'm hopeful that when we get into basketball season down the line, we'll be on the same page, and maybe some of you will use more of this stuff to help you with your experience, because really it is what it's about, is giving you some routines and rituals to help you with your athletic experience and take out some of the guesswork in terms of like why you're feeling the way you're feeling or why things happen the way they do. Because myself as a coach and as a parent, I get it. Like I get it. It's extra. It might seem extra, it might feel like homework, but I promise you that's not my intent. My intent is not to give you extra work. My intent is not to make you have to do more homework or whatever it might be. It's to try to help you, and for us to create a mutual language that when we talk about it during the season and so forth, we're all on the same page, and that's really it. Whether or not, I don't know if you've asked any of the other players from the first group. I haven't finished with a couple, but it really comes down to your desire and how much you want to put into it. Okay. There'll be 6 sessions. Hold on, let me see. There will be 6 sessions, maybe a 7th, and then I will do a individual breakout with you at the end. And if at any point you want to meet separately, we can just text, or we can jump on a Zoom and go over any of the stuff that you want to go over even more, or if you need guidance or journal entries. But you guys all have something you can write in? You do? Okay, so there's 6 stages to this program. I like to call it the mental toolbox or the mental game plan. The first is pretty kind of straightforward. It's really just about how your brain works and why you think the way you do, and how you come to conclusions about yourself, and how you formulate processes, and how you formulate sort of blockades for yourself in terms of getting to where you want to go. And some of this I know we've talked about as a group. We did like that session together. So some of it's going to be a repeat. Just bear with me today. Okay. So number 1 is just how the brain works. You guys can see my screen, right? You're seeing the successes like driving a car. Okay. So success for any individual, this is a good diagram. It's like driving a car, right? You're going to have to, there's ups and downs. You're going to go up hills and down hills. There's going to be plateaus, and there's going to be moments where you make these rapid gains, right? So you hear in the fitness world, you hear the word plateau all the time, right? Like, oh, I've hit a plateau and I'm not gaining any more strength. Well, success basically is like that. And so is this process to making your like mental mindset one of the tools in your toolbox. So the goal is to really to get you to a place where you're doing your mindset work like you are training with your hitting coach Avery, or with your guys trainer, what's her name, like training with her, right? So it's part of that process and giving you an extra tool to do that. So hopefully you'll take this with you when you go to those workouts and do some of these routines. But you know, there are going to be some ups and downs in this roadmap where you find your way. Maybe you go backwards, and it's called the Denning-Kruger effect, where you hit this low point, you hit a low point before you go back up. So be ready for some low points and some frustration when going through anything, especially with this. It's going to get frustrating. It might get frustrating if you're actually putting in the work. But I promise you, if you stay with it, it'll get better, right? So it's like that, but it's actually not, right? Because it's really about your brain having two different systems and you starting to learn why you think the way you do. So sure, it could look like this, but these ups and downs will look different for everyone based on how soon you're starting to understand why your brain works the way it does. Do you guys remember we talked about the elephant and the rider? You guys remember this, right? So your rational brain, right? That's your thinking plan. I'm going to open up the chat for a second because I'm going to ask some questions, and that way I don't necessarily have to ask you out loud, but if you want to type it, you can. Okay. The rational part of your brain, that's your driver, right? That's your conscious side of your brain. That's the side you typically talk to yourself with, the side that's talking to yourself, right? I want to do this. I want to be this player. What's a rational thought in regards to the upcoming basketball season that each of you has? Write it in the chat. What's a rational thinking part of your brain thought that you want for the upcoming season? You can either say it or you can just type it. It's up to you. Who do you want to be? What do you want to happen? You guys are typing. I'm not seeing anything. Can you see it? Can you guys see this in the chat? Megan, unmute. Just tell me what do you want for this upcoming season? Give me one thought.
Like personally,
yeah, like what's a rational thought for this upcoming season?
Like wanting to win MCALs or something like that.
What about you personally? Something that's more in your control.
Be a top rebounder on the team.
Perfect. That's perfect, right? You want to be a top rebounder on the team, right? That's a thinking, planning part of your brain, and you really think you can do that, right? Like you thinking out loud can do that, right? What about you, Avery?
I want to become a better shooter.
Yeah, you want to be a consistent shooter. Gianna?
Like finishing over 50% at the rim.
Perfect. Like, yeah, you want to be a plus shooter, okay, around the rim. Those are all rational thoughts, right? And those are all things that your brain tells you that you want to do, right? But your elephant is your subconscious brain, right? It's caught in this emotional side, right? So past experience, past trauma, past resistance, right? And it also prioritizes sameness, right? So we talk about safety, your emotion, old stories that have happened to you, things that you remember from your past. It's your subconscious, and it wants you to stick to the same thing. The safety is what your brain prioritizes first and foremost. It's like it's this primitive part of your brain where it's the same for everyone, and it prioritizes survival over everything else. And what the brain looks at is that it wants today to look a lot like yesterday, right? Because that means you survived yesterday. You survived the day before that. So your brain at its most basic level, it wants this safety net for yourself. So when your writer says, like, I want to become a better outside shooter, I want to shoot 75%, but I know what that means. And I know that means that I got to go to the gym every single day, and I'm going to have to struggle and suffer, right? So your elephant then holds the rein on the paths, and it says, yeah, we don't want to do that, right? We don't want to do that. That's hard work, and that's not what yesterday looked like, and we're doing just fine. We are where we are today, right? But your writer's, the rational side says, well, I know what I need to do, and that's what it's going to take. Understanding what your brain is doing at the most sort of like human level is the first step in starting your belief work, of understanding why you're feeling resistance, right? And so while we're talking about this, you're probably going to come across, I know I did, and I still do, I come across these thoughts that I've had in the past about why I didn't make the effort to do something, right? Why I didn't actually do the work, like, oh, I really wanted to be a sound guy for a rock band one day, and I didn't do that because ultimately I thought it was going to be too much work, and maybe I wasn't good enough, right? That's your subconscious telling you, no, like, you can't do that. That'd be too hard to do. So when you're working towards becoming a better shooter, when you're working becoming a better rebounder around the basket, you need to actually do the belief work and start to really focus and actually fight against this survival mechanism in your brain. So that's the first step, understanding why you're stuck where you are or what you need to fight through. It's not the getting to the gym. It's not picking the ball up and going out there. It's not getting in the car and driving there. It's the most basic part of your brain saying, no, we want yesterday. We want it to look like yesterday. We want safety. We want comfort over anything else, right? And we'll get to that. It's called your motivation triad. So as powerful as your brain is, it's not actually that good at determining what is dangerous for you, right? So cortisol in your brain, the fight or flight part, whenever you feel that, it doesn't know the difference between that flight sort of instinct. It doesn't know the difference between that instinct of whether or not it's actually something that might be better for you and whether or not it's good for you, right? So your brain still has that same reaction to something that's new for you, that might not take you out of your comfort zone, or what we call that safety place for yourself, that place of safety, right? So the best way to keep us safe is for today to look a lot like yesterday, right? And so needless to say, probably none of you went outside and worked on your basketball game yesterday. Maybe you did, actually, I don't know, but right, you probably didn't, right? So, which is pretty much the opposite of what we are trying to accomplish every single day. Yesterday, right, typically does not look like what we are trying to accomplish the next day, right? That's the challenge, getting yourself to the gym, getting yourself to work out, getting yourself to practice, getting yourself to study, SAT practice, ACT practice, whatever it might be, right? Those things are hard. Those are challenging. Your brain doesn't care about your goals at the deepest level, right? It doesn't care about your goals, and it likely doesn't even want you to accomplish your goals. What it wants, sorry, hold on. Like, my dogs are really good at breaking up the routine of these meetings. They're going to be part of the meeting every single time. Damn it. Okay. Your brain doesn't care about your goals. It doesn't even care really what you want to accomplish on the conscious level. What it wants is comfort and safety. Okay. So remember that. Remember that when your coaching staff is pushing you and you start to kind of get resistant, that's normal. I understand it's normal for you. That's your most innate part of you being like, it's a lot of hard work and I'm gonna have to really be different tomorrow. It's challenging, right? And it's normal. It's 100% normal, okay? That elephant is always working in the background to find safety, comfort, and sameness, even if that means moving away from success. And even as you are working towards your success. So even if you make progress and you're like, yes, I can see it happening, that elephant's going to want to take you off that path and take you back to the way you were going. Okay. In fact, the things the elephant works towards are often the things that are in direct conflict with your success. Right. So in your journal, I want you to take one thing that you can, that this short part of this conversation, give me one instance, write it in your book, and you don't even have to tell me where where this makes sense to you, where this has happened to you before, maybe even in the past 3 months. Where have you, give yourself one example, give yourself more if you can, when your rational writer has said, this is what I really want. This is what I want to see happen for me. And then your elephant said no. And you felt it. And now you really recognize what was going on there. And if you're comfortable, if you want to share it, that'd be great. I can tell you mine. Okay, so obviously I'm trying to get this thing off the ground for myself. And I have a new mentor. I've signed up for another class where I meet with somebody twice a week. And her goal for me is to get my first like paid client. And the goal for me is to jump in on as many phone calls with parents as I can. Right? That's part of the process. And I have a parent who's reached out to me about their child. And I got really nervous about it. I was like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough for this. Maybe this is like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I can't do this. And I kind of visualized on it. I guess meditated on it. I thought about it a lot, and I realized that it was my elephant saying like, no, comfort zone, just do this. Go back to doing whatever you're doing. And eventually I finally just like, I took the leap. I made a conscious effort and reached out to this parent, and good things happen. Right. So now I'm moving forward with these people and this kid. So you got to be conscious of what's going on. Right. Anybody want to give me an example? This isn't a good chance, right? This is a good chance right here, right? This is your, so speaking up and starting to say these things out loud is part of the belief work, right? So right now, this is a perfect example of, I don't want to share. Why? Because you don't usually share and you're not comfortable with telling your truth to a small group of people, and everything that goes on here stays in this room. I don't share anything with anybody, right? So whatever's said in here in this group stays in this group. Anybody? No?
Last season during basketball, Billy kind of pushed me a little too far with shooting kind of, and I felt really uncomfortable because I didn't really like shoot the ball that much for him, which was kind of a struggle. But like during the end of the season, I started shooting more and I felt more comfortable with it.
So do you remember the moment that you took that first step forward? Was there a game or a moment in a game where you actually had a conscious thought of like, F my elephant, I'm gonna shoot it?
It was the pink out Archie Williams game.
Sweet, right? So I'm going to encourage you going forward in your journal to journal about things like that. So when you have moments in your day. And please, by all means, like use this stuff in your relationships, use it in with your significant others, with your parents, with education, use this stuff, right? But I'm going to encourage you to journal about this stuff. It's really important to make acknowledgement part of your process, right? So like when you feel these things happen, right? Say it, right? I'm not really comfortable shooting, and those things will show up in your journaling, in your visualizations, and your meditation and stuff that I give you, or whatever, however you like to focus on this stuff, and then acknowledge it when it goes well, even when it doesn't go well. But acknowledgement is a big part of the process, so that it becomes part of your regular routine. And it's not just a one-time thing. Okay, right? So, like I said, these things are like not always in direct, they're not always in line with what is successful for you, right? Because for Avery shooting the ball is part of her growth. Like for Avery to be a successful varsity player, Avery's going to have to shoot the ball when she's open, right? I thought you had a really good summer shooting the ball. You shot the ball well, right? You didn't shoot a lot, but when you did, you were very successful shooting the ball, right? So part of that process for you is to get through those obstacles, right? And that's fighting your elephant. Okay, and that's a big part of what tonight's about, right? So it's choosing the path, right? Because it's really actually the rider, the elephant in the path. It's getting your elephant to take a new path as opposed to the old one, right? So tonight, whenever you journal next, I want you to talk about your new desired path, your writer's view of your path versus what you think your elephant's path might look like, okay? And I'll send you some journal prompts, right? And when I say journal, I'm not talking about like 25 minutes. If that's the way it goes, then that's the way it goes. But that's not what I'm asking you to do. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, it's fine, right? Okay, so in order to be able to do this, we have to be able to figure out why your brain works the way it works and keep it in the background for us to actually keep us safe the way that it wants to, right? So the brain monitors where we invest our resources, our energy, our time, right? And what it looks to do is avoid pain, conserve energy, and to increase pleasure, right? So it looks to avoid the cortisol. That's what's the fight or flight. And it looks to increase dopamine, right? Which is what makes you feel good. Music, sunshine, significant others, winning, success, that creates dopamine, right? Okay, but also just staying away from some things, safety, right? So like, hey, let's go to the gym and let's go run 3 miles and see if we can run it in under 20 minutes, right? Human brain, your brain's going to say, oh, hell no, right? Nope, not going to do that. I want to avoid pain. Let's sit on the couch and eat bonbons and watch Love Island, whatever, right? Temptation Island, whatever it is you guys watch, right? That's what your motivation triad wants. It monitors where you invest that energy. Doesn't want you to put it into the things that your writer wants you to do. It wants to be safe, right? Again, it wants it to look like yesterday, okay? The good news is that we've been able to override this instinct over generations through evolution to be able to find bigger and better goals. We're no longer just chasing fire and picking bugs out of the dirt, right? We've evolved as a species to be able to go for bigger and bigger things that we want to accomplish. All right. So you can think of any bigger goal that you've accomplished in your life, right? That's part of that process. Okay. So this part of your brain is what filters information into it. Okay. Do we do the color test? Do we do this activity? About I pick a color. Okay. So I want you to look around your room and count as many things that are blue in your room. I'm going to give you 20 seconds. Okay, look around your room and count the things that are blue. 10 seconds. All right, cool. Megan, how many blue things did you see?
14.
14. Gianna?
4.
4. Okay, blue is not your color, I guess.
No.
Avery, put your hands up. 8.
17.
15. Wow. Okay, cool. All right, let's do it again. All right. This time, I want you to look around and count the number of things that you see in your room that are green. All right, 3 seconds. All right, Avery. Avery, how many things in your room did you see that are red?
3.
Megan, how many red things did you see?
I have no idea.
Gianna, how many pink things did you see?
1.
One, right? And you guys, and you probably even like Avery, you probably half-assed something, like you called something pink or pink red and it was pink, but you just wanted to be right, right? So you said, oh, 3, right? That's what the brain does, okay? Your brain looks to be right, right? So if you're not looking for something specifically, your brain will filter out other stuff. It only looks for what it wants to find, right? So this is what they call the reticular activating system, or the RAS, right? It filters out information based on what's important to you and what you want to see, right? The only things that get through all the time are loud sounds. So if something bangs and you hear it, right? Your name will come through even when you're not expecting it. Flirting. So if somebody is like attracted to you and showing that, the human mind just finds it, right? And then what you've told it to look for. That's what your brain looks for, right? So when you are, in a nutshell, when you start to think something about yourself, like, I can't shoot with my left hand. What happens? It starts to look for those things. Told you I can't shoot with my left hand. I told you, right? Oh, I can't do that. I'm not good at that. It starts to find the things that you're looking for. Your RAS it's like your bouncer, right? It only allows you to see the things you want it to see. It doesn't see all the good things. You'll forget that you made 2 left-hand layups in the game. You'll just remember the ones you missed. I told you I can't do that. I can't do that, right? So that's what your RAS does. It filters out the things. So part of this belief work and part of working against your elephant is to be conscious of what you're thinking, what you actually believe, because your RAS is going to filter out all the stuff that you're not looking for, right? So you need to start looking for things. You need to start doing more conscious work and looking for things, right? So your RAS, it works to be right based on your old beliefs. So like, I can't dribble with my left hand. I can't shoot, right? Or I can't finish. I can't finish over 50% around the basket. I'm not a good free throw shooter, right? Because it's working to always be right. It's the same part of your brain that's always going back to, it's called a confirmation bias, right? It's always trying to confirm your old beliefs than what you thought was right, right? So again, I'm guessing right now, each one of you can come up with a situation where someone's told you something like, no, you're actually pretty good at that. Like held up some art that you did. You're like, oh, that's not that bad. Or something like that. It happens all the time, right? It's that big iceberg underneath the water, all the stuff that you're good at. But the only thing you can see is from the deck of that ship. The only thing that you can see is what you want to see from up there. But there's all this other stuff that's going on that you're actually good at, or things that you can do, but you have to work on believing it. You have to let it through, right? So what do we do about it? All right. Again, there's a massive amount of resistance. You're down here, Mr. Elephant's down here, and our goal is way up here. And your RAS is going to filter out all the things that you don't want it to see, that it doesn't want you to see. And it's only going to show you and want to allow you to see the things that make you comfortable and make you right, right? So this is a massively uncomfortable to your brain, right? So we've all been in the situation, and this is something I might actually do a post on. But how many times have you been in the car with your parents and they say, Megan, you were great tonight? And you're like, shut up. No, it wasn't. It was terrible. Right? I was that way. Like we would win. I'd play well and I'd go home, slam the door and not eat dinner. Like I didn't play well. I was terrible. Because guess what I remembered? The missed layup, right? Oh, the girls saw me miss that, throw up an air ball. How embarrassing. I'm terrible. Never mind that I made 6 baskets, right? It's the same thing happening again yourself. Like you have to be able to raise yourself up to meet your own beliefs. Okay, so belief work. It's going to be a real common term for me. You got to do, are you doing your belief work, right? And you need to drop your expectations. Okay, you need to drop what you think you're not capable of. Okay, you have to drop the expectation of failure and going back to being this version of your RAS, which RS says you are, right? You're not good at that. You see, you're terrible. You got to be able to drop that, okay? What do you think is easier, dropping it or raising your beliefs? Right? What's easier, to drop those expectations or raise your beliefs? Believe it or not, it's easier to raise your own beliefs and start doing the work on I am capable, right? Instead of fighting that expectation, those negative expectations. That's hard. That's built into your brain the same way, but you want to start working on raising up your own beliefs, okay? If you don't believe your goal is possible, then your brain is designed to pull you back to safety. There's, was Gerald Ford said, whether you believe you can or you can't, you are correct. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you are correct. Okay? Doesn't care about your big goals, it cares about your safety. Okay? So for example, are you guys all good at math? Right? So let's say you can change the subject to math, English, science, right? For example, I'm bad at math. Okay, so probably got set when you were young. Okay, and you can change whatever it might be, right? Let's just pretend you're bad at, you think you're not good at math, right? So you probably got set at an early age, you failed some math tests early on, maybe you didn't pass into the better math class, right? Our subconscious brain likes to believe this is real, right? Likes to tell you, it wants to be right, wants to be safe, doesn't want to put energy in, right? And it wants you to match up to your internal self. Wednesday. Okay, your motivation triad then, right? That little triangle doesn't want you to study, doesn't want you to do the extra work. Sit on the couch and watch Love Island. Don't do the work, don't get better at math, right? Your filter, we just talked about, right? It has all this information that wants to support your idea that you're not good at math, right? It's going to remember the test you failed. It's going to remember the fact that you think about the fact that your best friend is in calculus while you're in remedial math, right? It doesn't allow you to see the flyer for study groups to go actually do the tutoring, right? And then there's this other thing called the critical factor, and that's what only lets in the things you want it to see, right? So it doesn't believe math compliments you. It doesn't let you believe that you can get a good grade, and that your brain will make inner excuses so inner belief stays intact, keeps your belief alive, right? Okay. College is another good example, right? We'll look at it the other way. You really want to go to college. Raise your hand if you want to go to college. We all do, right? And you're probably working towards that, right? So your motivation triad, right? In a positive light, if you think about it this from the other side of keeping you there, your motivation triad, like you got to get to college. This is what you set out to do. Now your triad has you taking the PSAT. It has you doing the SAT, talking to school counselor, researching colleges, right? Because you believe it, right? Your filter now, right, starts to see all these other opportunities. You can just go talk to your counselor, sees the scholarships. All that stuff's now getting in. The financial aid, the study groups, the peers that have the same aspirations. And then that filter, that critical filter factor that filters out all that information, right? Like you got a bad grade, it starts to tell you, nah, that's a fluke, right? You can study hard, you can do it again, take the retake, right? It starts to work in your favor if you start to do the belief work, right? It starts to work in your favor. But if you go back to thinking like bad math student, bad shooter, bad dribbler, bad whatever, bad girlfriend, bad whatever it might be, that's gonna, you're all of this, your triad, your filter, and your RIS and your critical factor are going to prove you right every single time. So it's all about how you work and believe, right? So that's what I'm going to be giving you the tools for, and I'm going to try to motivate you to do that belief work on a regular basis. Okay. So anyway, try to think about how this works for you in regards to athletics, for better or for worse, right? Because you guys have all improved to some degree. So like Avery starting to shoot and starting to make shots, that whole same thing is now starting to work in your favor, right? Whereas if you don't feel like you have a left hand, it's going to work in favor of the bad side of yourself. It's not going to allow you to get better. Okay. So again, where you are and where you want to get to, right, is only about how much you can manage the discomfort, and only if you can work on believing. Okay. So most of what we need to do to be our most successful self is opposite of what our brain wants you to do. Okay. And that, if you take anything out of this tonight, it's that your most inner part of your brain doesn't want you to have the success. Your natural part of your evolution doesn't want you to have the success that you really want to have. Your conscious versus your subconscious. Okay. Because we spend a lot of time working it against ourselves, right? It's typically the reason we have tears. Typically the reason we cry is because our conscious is at conflict with our subconscious. Okay. All right. So this is kind of a diagram of what our belief work is going to look like. Okay. Right now, we're going to work on our thought work, our systems and routines. You guys are your team right now. Right. I'm going to encourage you guys to talk to each other, and I will use the chat. I'll try not to over chat. Right. And we're going to be doing some subconscious work. Right. So I'm going to teach you in the next session about the tear process. I'm going to start giving you guys some visualization. I'm going to teach you our braver again. We've done some of this in school. All right, or in practice. I mean, I'm going to teach you the real system to that, right? And then we're going to start working on some systems and routines. This is going to look different because none of you are playing a fall sport, I don't believe, but we could use it in the fall while doing open gyms, and if we have a club team, we could use some of this routines then, so that you're dialed in by the time we get to the season. And then at the end, we'll do some post work. All right. So it all starts with belief, and that the goal is possible, and that it's possible for you. Right. So the brain says no thanks to your big goals. Our brain filters information based on what we already think and what we tell it to look for. Right. Success is change. Change is a threat. Success is change. Change is a threat. Goals take energy. They take pain. They take, and joy isn't guaranteed. All the work we do doesn't guarantee anything for you, right? All the things that your brain is designed to make you avoid. And our human brain prioritizes safety, survival over everything else. And finally, the brain isn't all that great at determining real danger from discomfort or whatever is new. Okay, again, this is all this belief work, all right? So I'm going to put a timer on the clock. And for the next 5 minutes, I want you to answer the question, right? I want you to answer the question to yourself. What do I really want? Okay. I know we may have done this already in that green packet early in the summer, but I want you to write about what do I really want? And you can make it about basketball. You can make it about this process. You can make it about the upcoming year. What do you really want? All right. And if don't pick up your pen, okay, don't pick it up. Keep writing. If you come to a point where you can't write anymore, I want you to write what I really meant is, and keep writing. Don't let the pen stop moving, even if you're writing kind of nonsense. Just keep writing. All right. I'm going to give you let's call it 4 minutes. We'll go right up to 7 o'clock on that. Okay. Ready? Timer starts now. Girls. Love it. 30 seconds. All right, you can wrap up your last sentence. You can come in under 10 seconds. When you're ready, just put your pen down. So I really want you to give me a thumbs up if you already write in a diary or a journal. Yes or no? It's okay if you don't. Not everybody does. Okay. It's okay if you don't. I just want I'm gonna continue to stress the value of journaling. I think it's really important. I've done I feel this is my second one that I'm already like filling up. And I can tell you that in the 6 months since I started the course, and now I'm taking another one. It's just it's transformed the way I think about things, just because you're retraining your subconscious mind, right, on how to think about your daily interactions and how you go about things. And it's slow process, right? Like, I know my story and is one in which I didn't get the support when I was your age, right? Like, my story was that my parents, I don't know if I've told you the story, but my parents separated when I was 13. My dad was an alcoholic. He drank a lot, and he was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And my parents got divorced, and then my brother died in a motorcycle accident in the same year when I was 13, my freshman year of high school. And up until that point, I was middle school athlete of the year. I had a great first half of my freshman year. And then all of this stuff happened to me, and my totally normal conscious brain started predicting or leaning towards things are never going to go right. Things are always going to be fucked up, right? And so I spent a lot of my life stuck there, because my subconscious brain would always kind of lead me back to, it's not going to work out. It's not going to go well. And so what I've found, a lot of that's changed. Some of that's changed for me by meeting Lisa and my life taking different directions. But what I can promise you is that, and hold on. They're playing chase. Is that this process for me has given me such a different outlook on life, and I'm hopeful that it carries over into my coaching. It's a slow work in progress, and it'll won't be perfect, but I can just tell you that I'm doing a lot more visualization and meditating than I've ever done before, and the journaling, it goes a long way. So continue to do it. So even if I send you some journaling prompts and you're not up for it, save it for later and do it when you can do it. Okay. I'm going to take you for about 5 more minutes. Okay. So part of this process through all this is going to be visualization. Okay. And what I mean by visualization, it means when you're journaling, when you're doing meditation or sitting quietly, whether you're using the music, or I'm going to send you some meditations too. It might be my mentor's voice. It might be mine. Then I'd like you to do it, but it's all about you focusing on the things that you want to see happen in your belief work, right? And so we're going to do this little activity that I think kind of shows you what is possible when it comes to the belief work. All right. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you, when I say go, you're going to stand up. Okay. You're going to stand up. You can turn your camera if you want. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to watch you, but you can stand. I want you to stand up so that you have a room to do like a full circle with your arms out to your side. Okay. So get up and stand up. Okay. Get up and stand up. And I want you to put your hand out in front of you with your thumb up, like you're hitchhiking, straight out in front of you. And I want you to look long and hard at your thumb. Look at the wrinkles in your finger, the nail bed, your fingernail, the colors of your fingertip, the different colors in your nail. I just want you to look long and hard at it. Okay. And then when I say go, I want you to, without moving your feet, keeping your feet planted on the floor, I want you to turn and open up as far as you can go to your right. If you're using your right hand, go right. If you're using your left, go left. And open up and go as far as you think you can go. You can twist as far as you can go. All right? Go for it. First chance. And then I want you to find that marker on the wall where you go to. Okay, twist as far as you can go without moving your feet. And when you're ready, come on back to center. Okay. All right, this time I want to keep your hands at your side. Go ahead and keep your hands at your side. I want you to close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, I want you to see your finger out in front of you. I want you to see the wrinkles in your finger like you just did, the colors in your nail bed, colors in your fingertip, the nail itself, any blemishes or anything different about your thumb. And then I want you to just think it. I want you to think and see and live your thumb turning out and twisting out past the previous marker to where you just went. And see your thumb going past that first twist. And then coming back to your starting point. I'm going to have you go ahead and open up your eyes. Okay, I'm going to have you go ahead and put your thumb back out again. Okay, look hard at that thumb. Wrinkles in the finger, any blemishes, any discoloration, different colors in your nail bed. Look hard at it. And this time I want you to go twist out again and see if you can go past that first marker and out to your imaginary second marker. When you're ready, go for it. When ready, come on back. Fantastic. All right, go ahead and we're gonna do this one more time. Go ahead and put your thumbs down to your side, your thumb down to your side. This time I want you to close your eyes. I want you to see your thumb out there in front of you. I want you to take a big deep breath and see that thumb, the wrinkles on your thumb, the fingernail, the discoloration, any different coloration of your thumb. And this time you're going to imagine your thumb going past the first marker, out past that second marker, and all the way out to a third marker on the wall that you didn't reach before. And then you're going to go ahead and bring that thumb back to in front of your body and down to your side. And when you're there, I'm going to have you open your eyes one last time and put your thumb up to your up in front. Okay, and this time with your eyes open, looking hard at that thumb, any freckles, wrinkles in your finger, okay, the color in your thumb, and you're going to twist out to your right, past that first marker, past that second marker, and maybe even past that third marker when you're ready. And come on back to start. Come on back to your camera and take a seat. Gianna, tell me what happened for you.
Each time I went like further and further and like I felt more like open, like not as like tight.
Why do you think that is?
Cause like I was like thinking that I could go further
Right. And then and what about the first time?
I like thought I could only go like a certain like space on the wall, and then I wouldn't be able to get any further than that.
Right. It's your limiting thoughts, right? So you went into a situation with a limiting thought thinking this is the best that I can do. And so the power of visualization, it's a mouthful. The power of visualization is incredible. So the more you do the visualization of yourself and what you want yourself to look like and what you want to see. I met with a player this week and I asked them, I said, what do you want to, what do you, when you get to graduation at your school, what do you want that senior you athlete to look like? What do you, what do you want? What do you see? And she said, I don't get it. What do you mean? Right. And it was a really eye-opening sort of interaction for me. And that what it told me is that that there are athletes, and some of you might already do it and have these dreams, and you could see yourself at the free throw line at Marine Catholic on a Friday night in front of a wild crowd knocking down free throws, right? But most of us, especially teenagers, don't do enough of it. They don't see themselves in the successful roles. They worry about the scary parts, and they spend a lot of energy and time thinking about the scary shit and what you don't want to happen more than you do the things that are totally within your reach and possible to happen. So part of this process is going to be about you visualizing and believing what you're capable of through process visualization or meditation, and through journaling, and through some other routines that I'm going to teach you. Okay. So that's what this is going to happen over the next 5 weeks of these sessions. All right. Do me a favor, do the homework. All right. It's not a lot. It might just mean sitting down and being quiet. Right. I'm going to send you a 5 or 6 minute meditation tonight that I want you to practice before I see you again. 5 minutes. That's it. Just sitting quietly and focusing on your breathing. All right. I know we've done some of this already, but it's good to practice. Your other homework. Okay. And we did this already, but you're going to do it again. And we're going to give up one thing this week. All right. You're going to give up one thing. Okay. It could be anything you want, but make it kind of difficult. Don't make it something that like you won't miss. Make it something where you're going to have to work on it. You're going to have to be conscious of it, right? Because what this is doing is it's going to remind you daily about your elephant and your rider. Do I want to be comfortable? Do I want to be safe? Right? Is this my monkey brain telling me, no, yesterday's better versus something that you know that you're capable of doing? Okay. And I want you to journal about that one thing every single day. Okay. So come up with something on your own. I'm going to ask you next week what it was, right? So don't make it too personal. And then journal on it every day, right? What are the challenges? And just remind yourself about what's getting in your way, right? And maybe even like try to regurgitate some of the vocabulary from this week, just so that it's there, right? Your reticular activating system and your critical factor. And if you want me to send that stuff to you via diagram, I can do that, okay? And that's it, okay? Done for the day. I appreciate you guys being here. Got you out of here in an hour. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Good luck on your one thing activity, all right? Dominate your elephant. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.